Hey Reese, I'm happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me and being willing to share your experience. And you did the 14-day emotional detox with me. So I'm really excited to talk with you today so that you can share how that's been going for you so other people can maybe get some ideas of what they might experience if they did something like this, or maybe you can even give them some tips by the end of it to help them on their own journey.
Of
Um,
course, be honored.
so thank you so much for being here. Um, so before we started working together, like I want you to kind of just think back and put yourself in the mindset you were in when we first met. Like if you can remember, like what were you feeling? What were you experiencing? What was kind of mentally going on for you before we met?
So before we met, I was going through all of these emotions because I had finally left an extremely violent, abusive relationship. And it was something that I was involved in since 2016. And it's been like a really long, hard road. And the first time that we spoke, I remember that it's like very vivid in my mind. It was like you were my long lost soul sister, and we didn't even do like a video call or nothing like that. It was just straight from Facebook, and I got these like incredible emotions, and it like overwhelmed me because I don't really have connections like that, and when I meet somebody online, and it was so incredibly powerful for me to have met you and to have those feelings, which I still have. It was really an amazing connection for me. It really was.
Oh, well, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. So yeah, so you had just come out of a really abusive relationship. So can you kind of tell me like what were the emotions like, or what were the thoughts that you were having like day to day that were kind of maybe keeping you feeling stuck, or was there like anxiety? What was like your day to day like process? Like if you could kind of and you know be as honest as you want to be, but the more honest you are, the more people are going to be able to relate. So if you want to be bleak with me, be bleak, you know, tell me the pain, because this is what we were sharing, and I want to show people like what you were experiencing and what you were able to get out of.
Yeah, I was experiencing for last year, because him and I were talking, and it really messed up like my trauma therapy that I'm doing. Because I was lying to my therapist. So I was having these like, to be perfectly honest with you, I had a surgery in the beginning of September, and he stopped talking to me in October, and I kept messaging him when I was in the hospital, and I'm like, what is your problem? Like, why are you not responding? And he just immediately stopped talking to me, and I really got mad. I was really angry because in my head I was like, I wanted to be the one to call that off, because you hurt me so bad for so many years, and like, how dare you not just not talk to me and like break it off? Like, that was my job. I wanted to do that, and that was huge. It was like this huge bubble around me that I was just going through. I'm like, just how dare you? I wanted to be the one to do that. And it actually took me up until now to finally start to let that go. And it's really difficult when you're in such an abusive relationship because you're beaten down emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of that. And that's where I was. I was completely felt like I just got beat up really bad. And I was very depressed and very angry. And I had a lot of emotions going on. And it was literally taking over my life. And when you and I met and you started sharing this emotional detox, I was like, yes, I need that. I need some kind of emotional detox to help me. And literally, let me share with you guys that the first session was so incredibly powerful for me that I was incredibly overwhelmed and with all of these emotions, because it was like through your meditations and what you were doing with me, that work, it was actually pulling out all of those emotions that I was experiencing. Like I could visually see when I was in the meditations, like my heart opening up and just all that stuff just coming out of me. And honestly, if it wasn't for you, Heather, and this program that I went through, I would not be in the place that I am right now. I would still be incredibly depressed and incredibly like thinking about him. And, and he still pops into my head from time to time. And I'm just like, get out of my head. And it's actually gotten a lot better since I did that energy healing with you. It was just, I can't even come up with the words to describe how incredibly powerful it was for me to go through that with you. And I could literally see in the mirror the shift that it was making and see that my face was starting to look better and I wasn't all feeling all these like crazy emotions like anxiety and anger, and like I was going through mania a lot and like having these manic episodes, and it actually calmed everything down for me.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So do you feel like, I feel like this is really common when we're in abusive relationships. Like you were saying, like you were just really angry that he kind of cut it off when you wanted to do that. And I feel like that happens, like we keep going back because we're almost addicted to being treated badly.
Yep. You just
Yeah.
hit it right in the head.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. And yeah, no, I totally could understand your frustration with not being like the one off. And then it's almost kind of like maybe it was like a manipulation tactic on his end to do that too, because it's like maybe he thought if he cut it off, like you would really always think about him or something crazy like that. Like, you never really know with people. And of course, like I believe hurt people like hurt people. So of course, I don't know this guy, so I have compassion and sympathy for everyone, even the abusers out there, just because there's a reason that they're doing the things that they're doing. There's some pain that they're going through as well. So even though I don't agree with it, it doesn't excuse their behaviors. I'm compassionate for them and hope that they heal as well. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I loved your description of how, like, in our sessions, you could literally, in the visualizations, see these things being removed and released from your life, and how you noticed in the mirror, like on your face, like maybe your face just felt lighter because, like, when you have these dense emotions, you just kind of like, your face kind of drops and it's kind of heavy. But when you feel free, it's like your face just kind of lifts up and like you're smiling more and your face feels lighter, your body feels lighter. So I really love that really deep, profound visualization. Like you really explain the experience. Really thankful for that. So what are some of the thoughts and experiences and emotions that you are experiencing now after we've worked together? What are some new experiences that you're having since our work has ended?
So from day to day, I kind of go into this OCD obsessive behaviors because I am dealing with a lot of other things with my trauma therapy, because I needed to do that for what I went through in my past, and not just with him, but in like my whole entire past, because this is the second abusive relationship that I was in, and I was stuck. I was stuck in my heart. I was stuck in my head. And today I'm not stuck like that. Like I actually can feel the release that had happened through the sessions. And so I walk my path on a daily basis in more of a understanding and happiness, and I'm starting to accept my responsibility, my part in all of these messed up relationships. And I wasn't ready for that, not until we started doing the emotional detox. And now it's just incredibly overwhelming, this like incredible feeling that I had over me through those sessions. And, it resonates with me into today, into my daily life as I'm walking on, a good path. So I still experience, anxiety and, but it's not as bad as it was before we started. And so, for everybody out there that's contemplating on doing this emotional detox with Heather, I highly recommend it for whatever you're going through, anything like that. It doesn't have to be as deep as my experience, what I've been going through my whole entire life. It can be anything. And I think that everybody should do this emotional detox actually, because you're such a kind-hearted, amazing woman. And without you, I would still be stuck in incredible depression and mania and all of that. And now I'm able to control those things. I have a handle on things right now, which has never happened to me in my entire life. I always used to keep everything buried deep down inside. And through the emotional detox, like I said before, like with my heart and everything opening and can see that stuff like lifting out of me, that was the most incredible, powerful thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm very grateful and blessed today to have done that, as it actually helps me to stay focused and reminds me to continue on my path. And there's days when I'm struggling and I have all of our sessions, all the recorded sessions in my email, and I actually go back to those and re-listen to them when I'm having a bad day or struggling. And it helps me because it reminds me of when we first started doing this and how incredibly scared I was to go on this journey. But, I needed to for my own personal sanity and the path that I'm working on. I chose to do a healing journey, and that was part of my journey. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, perfect. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah. So what comes with the emotional detox is like, we have 4 sessions, they're hour-long sessions, and I record them. So they're yours. The recordings are yours to keep. And like she was saying, you can listen to them anytime. And so they're always going to be there for you. And go back and revisit the work, especially if you ever feel like you're slipping or things are getting tough, you can just listen to that recording and it's always going to be there for you. So that's another thing that's really cool about it, is it's something that you get to experience over and over again anytime you feel like you need to.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And is there anything that you experienced during or after our time together that you weren't expecting to experience?
So after the first session, I remember that you told me that it's incredibly powerful and you could go through like all kinds of different emotions and things after the first session. And after the first session of doing the emotional detox, I um totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. um what was I gonna say? I'm sorry. It's I can't remember what I was gonna say. It'll probably come to me in a second.
So was there any type of experiences that you had during or after our time together that maybe you didn't expect to have? Or did anything kind of happen from the detox that you weren't expecting to have happen?
Definitely. It has been, I literally can't put it into words because I love it so much and it was so incredibly powerful and it's still powerful to this day. And I actually, after we did all the sessions and finished it, I have been seeing a lot of change to myself, especially when I look in the mirror, the way that I write, the way that I journal, the way that I do my self-care that I was struggling with, like every single thing in my life that I'm trying to work on and go through this journey, I've just noticed my spiritual side just completely starting to come out of in everything that I do, and my artwork, which is actually something that I haven't done in a long time because I was so stuck in those like that negative place, that like now I'm actually getting inspired again and wanting to create my art. And like my dream catchers behind me, I made all of those. And so it's just sitting here looking at my art and being like, why aren't I doing this? And then after the sessions, I've just noticed that my happiness started coming back. It's been easier to focus on my self-care and my self-love and my worth, and started connecting again with creator and smudging and like using sage and sweetgrass and lavender and my medicines that I have. And I was stuck before doing those sessions, and now I'm like actually starting to blossom, and I feel that. And I haven't been able to blossom or to remove any of that, in like 30 something years. I'm giving away my age here, but it's like, so to have those things come back to me and to continue to walk on this good path is actually one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And that definitely comes from the emotional detox and from you, Heather, because you touched my soul in so many ways from the first time that we met. And without you, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Oh, you're so sweet. I really, really appreciate your feedback, and no, that's perfect. Like being able to step into your spirituality deeper, getting back into your artwork, finding like your happiness again. Like, yes, these are all shifts that are very profound and can be very unexpected to come out of kind of nowhere. Maybe sometimes we even don't even realize that we've gotten out of things that used to make us so happy, and then we get stuck, like we don't know how to get back in it, and then something triggers it, and it just wakes us back up to our happiness. So that's really awesome. Thank you for sharing. And, um, so would you say that you had any tips for people that might be watching this, you know, that are still struggling with maybe feeling stuck with this anger, or like they're like let's say that they got out of a poor relationship, or just any situation in general that's causing anxiety, stress, and anger, and just upset. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling like they don't have any motivation to do the things that make them happy, or maybe they don't even have motivation to figure out what makes them happy. Is there any tips that you learned, or just that you have in general, to share with people that could help them get unstuck?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all as humans get stuck in different situations and different emotions, and they can be incredibly overwhelming and powerful, your emotions and your feelings. And I would just say that no matter what you're going through, and it doesn't have to be like these traumatic events, it could be anything. And we need help with all those things. It's very hard to try and heal and go on a spiritual journey and a journey of healing without the support that we desperately need. Because I know for myself, I desperately needed something else that was bigger than me, and doing these emotional detoxes was bigger than me. And I have a hard time meditating, and with this program, it really helped me to start meditating on my own through the meditations, and you just made it that much easier to go through that. And it like I said before, it really doesn't matter what you're going through. If you want to heal and you need that extra push, I highly recommend this emotional detox, because it literally changed the way that I think and the way that I focus everything in the morning, because I was just in such a bad place. And because it's, to me, it was like going through this emotional detox. I thought in my head before we began that it was going to be like this positive thing. And I really wasn't expecting to experience those different feelings and those emotions like coming out of my body. Like, it just completely removed a lot of the things that I was going through. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think that everybody should try it.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. So definitely having support in a healing or spiritual journey is really important. For me personally, my healing began and I was alone for a long time before my mentors kind of revealed themselves to me. So I can totally agree with that. Like, I think that there's, to an extent, we have to do things alone, or sometimes we end up alone. But there does come a time where to move to the next level, to unlock your fullest potential, you need someone who's been there and has made it to the other side to kind of guide you through it. I did, and my clients, they are really for themselves as well. So yes, getting support. And then, of course, meditation is always really helpful. I totally understand, like, meditating can be hard. And if for some reason you aren't able to do this emotional detox and get with me so I can kind of give you my take on meditation and help you in any way to learn, I always recommend just looking up guided meditations on YouTube. That's what helped me learn how to meditate. I started there, and then I got to a point where I could meditate on my own. Because that's really what I'm doing, is I'm just guiding you through a hypnosis, which hypnosis is a form of it's just meditation where you are getting suggestions, because all hypnosis is self hypnosis. So anytime you are hypnotizing yourself, you're just following a guide, and you are in control of what you take in and what you don't. So even if you're being guided into a hypnosis, no one is in control or the suggestions that you're absorbing in that moment, which is what I'm doing with my energy work. Is I guide you through creation, get you into a place where you're safe, and then I give you energy healings, and your body will take what's optimal. And we do this intuitively together. So before I run any type of energy on you, you know exactly what you're going to receive. And if it's not something that you resonate with, you don't get it. Like, we make it all about you and what feels good to you. So yeah, so I definitely love that. So thank you so much for your feedback, and I hope that this is helpful for everyone viewing back at home. Just on your own journey, just to give you some insights in any way, shape, or form. Or if you are feeling curious about the 14-day detox, hopefully this kind of cleared any you had up. And if not, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to answer any questions for you. So thank you so much, Reese, for today. This was perfect. Awesome. I'm so happy to have had your feedback.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you so much for, connecting with me and bringing me into that emotional detox, and, still helping me. Like, I still reach out to Heather if I'm like struggling with something. I'll send her a message and explain everything. And then she comes back and reminds me of what I'm supposed to be doing, and to not let those thoughts completely overwhelm my thinking, because that's our worst enemy, is ourself, and trying to change things and, focus on different things. And I just wanted to add too that going through this emotional detox with you, and for talking with you, actually Heather will talk to you before you begin these sessions, and so everything is guided towards you. She doesn't use like other meditations to like for a whole group. It's actually very personable, which makes it that much better. And through our sessions, I just started to realize that my purpose is to share my experience and my strength and my hope with everybody else for what I've been going through. And I now know what my purpose is in life. And I've actually known for a long time. I just always buried it deep down inside because I wasn't to expect to go through that. And my purpose is to help people and to help them, especially with addiction, like addiction to anything. It could be drugs, alcohol, men, eating, whatever. And like, I know that that's my responsibility to do that. And I actually do that with a couple of people from my Native American group. They reached out and wanted, my guidance on, my 12-step program that I did, because I never liked AA or NA. It didn't make sense to me. And when I started doing the Native American 12 steps, that made sense because it's something that's bigger than everybody and it's very spiritual. And that's what I am as a person. And I wouldn't have been able to completely come out of what I was keeping deep down inside if it wasn't for this emotional detox. So it actually helps if you're completely committed to it and open, go into it with an open heart and an open mind, and you're going to start noticing some big changes if you go into it like that.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, I love that. Definitely healing for me too helped me find my passion. And I love that it helped you. It sounds like you knew what your passion was, but it helped you in a way that you can hopefully make it like tangible. And it sounds like you already are working towards that. So that's amazing. I love that. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the recording here. And it was so nice to get your feedback, and I'm so thankful. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's interview.